Welcome back to Ultra for another one. Hope everyone's doing alright. As you can see, we're in the tunnel over the easy pond. Fish looking cracking, doing really well. Really pleased with how the system's running at the moment. Today we're going to be looking at a couple of pH meters, and more specifically pH meters that also include ORP. One being the Kactoily 7-in-1, and then another one being an unbranded Chinese one that I got for less money. So I'm going to just be sort of unboxing them, running through their setup, seeing what's easier, and then we'll be testing them long term to see if we can give me an accurate ORP. Obviously on this system I am running Ozone. I have been since day one, doing really well. I'm absolutely smashing the food in already, and we've only been going a couple of days since I moved them, well, no, almost a week now actually, and the filter has established itself really well. As I said, fish looking really happy. The algae problem that I'd caused, it's got on top of on its own, which is great. No interference, no assistance, and it's keeping the water pretty clear. Very impressive considering the amount of food that is actually already going in here and the amount of fish and the waste, etc. Obviously I'm running the drum. Drum is running, well, when the drum works, I've had a couple of teething problems which aren't necessarily the drum's fault, it's because it is second hand and has a few broken bits on it. But for the main we fixed it, but it seems to be good now. But when it's working, it's pulling out so much crap. It really is a great mechanical filter. So yeah, really pleased, really pleased. Right, I'm going to chuck some food onto these, and then I'll give you the rundown of the two units. Right, so here we are, two units in their boxes. So on the left we've got the Kactoily 7-in-1. I believe this is the 7-in-1 wireless one as well. And then on the right we've got this, as I called it, an unbranded pH, TDS and temperature and ORP meter with 3 different probes. So this one I managed to get it for 55, got it on an offer with a discount code, was supposed to be about 80 quid, and these ones retail for I believe 150 upwards. Sometimes have an offer on a little bit cheaper, but obviously you can check out their website and have a look at those. Right, let's have a look and see what we've got. Straight away, before we even look at the instructions for this one, I can tell you, because I know this one when I was reading about the blur to buy it, I have to calibrate this myself with my own solution. So the other cost you've got on top of this is the solutions, which I've bought a pack off of Amazon for about a tenner, I think. So that is another cost that you'll have to consider when you're doing it. So straight into the box, you can see the unit itself. Feels, to be honest, feels a little bit cheap. A bit flimsy, a bit plastic, but I don't really know obviously what you expect of this sort of stuff sometimes. Let's pull this up under there. So we've got probe connectors, the probes themselves. We've got some clamps. I do get a small little screwdriver with it, and a power supply. So yeah, that's that one. We've got a little operation manual. Fortunately it's not too big, he says, until we open it up. Hold on. Okay, so there's information there, so I'll have a good read of these properly and I'll run through them all with you. I won't just make you sit and watch me read them all. And then on the left hand side, so we'll just move that to the side for now, keep all that together so you can see what we're getting in both. Obviously this is just what they look like, what they feel like. This isn't how they perform at this point. So we have got Kactoily 7-in-1 aquarium wireless monitor user manual. Again, fairly substantial. Folds out. Again, we'll make you sit and watch me do that. And then let's have a look what we've got in the box. So this, I believe, is the probe. It's one big probe which sits in the water column. Yep, max level, so the water level goes on there. That's right, so that's the probe. We've got plugs, nice adapter on it, which is good. Some sort of mounting bracket. And then the actual unit itself, where you can see the information that's displayed. Some information about probe cap. Please remove the probe protective cap counterclockwise before use. An explanation as to where the water needs to sit on the probe. So you've got 3 different levels. The recommended level in the middle, but no higher than that and no lower than that. So, and then we've got a water quality guidebook. Let's have a, that may be interesting. We'll have a look at that. And then what's in this box here? Cool, so we've got a little box of accessories as well by the looks of it. So apologies, I'm doing this one-handed, so if I look slightly cack-handed, that's why. Then we've got some rubber suction domes. Oh, we've got some pH solution. Okay, so if there is any calibration needed, they provided you some. Good, handy. Saves you have to buy it separately. Got appear like magnets, and I'm assuming these are all mounting onto different plug options, I think, for different countries. Cool, right. That's what you get in the box of the Kactoily 7-in-1. So straight away it feels a lot more quality than the previous one that we looked at. Just the way it was together, it feels like it's been put together properly because of the high quality plastic. But again, the unit does cost more, so you'd probably expect that. To be honest, I don't really care what they feel like, what they look like. This is all about how they perform and whether they can actually give me the information I need. I haven't found anything yet that gives me reliable ORP. Seems to be quite a tricky reading to get a stable read on, or a reliable read. So I'm hoping that one of these units will do the job. I've heard good things about this Kactoily, very good things. So I'm hopeful that this does the trick. And to be fair to Kactoily, they sent me this because they told me it could do the job. They were backing their product 100%, that they can showcase that this does take care of the ORP and does it well. So we will see. Right, let me have a good sit, a good read, a good look. Make sure we get them all set up, and then I can show you the next bit and get them working. Right, so first thing that I've pulled this out, try and start setting it up, and made a big discovery which it doesn't tell you on the box. It looks like you can only plug in one of the other probes, the pH or the ORP. So I can't have both readings at the same time. That would suggest to me. I don't know. But it definitely says, look, connect the pH or the ORP electrode to the probe instead of the instrument, and you've only got the one area to do it. Again, it says or pH or ORP up here. So I don't know if that means I'm only going to get the reading from whichever one I choose. So we'll see. Yeah, but my first comment is this isn't user friendly, but a lot of the time these Chinese instructions aren't, are they? So right, let me carry on and I'll come back to you. So plugged my ORP probe in. Obviously ORP is what I'm really interested in. But it doesn't look like I need to do a calibration on the ORP probe, and if I do, it doesn't tell me how to do it. It talks about pH probe calibration. I've got my pack of solutions here to do the calibrations with, but yeah, I've got nothing. I need stuff around the pH, CF, ppm, so yeah, I'll keep reading, make sure I haven't missed something, but basically not very clear, not very helpful. Don't understand why we've got probes that I can swap out, but you know, reality being once you put this in, I've bought that type of monitor because I just want to see what I've got. So it's not what I advertised, multi-monitor, being able to do everything at once. I don't think at this stage. I may stand corrected later on, but yeah, so far not enjoying setting it up. So you've got these little caps on the end of these probes as well, which have to come off to protect them in transit. Don't leave them on, otherwise it won't work. Okay, so I've got my test cups of water that I got out to do some calibration with, but as it turns out, it looks like I don't need to do any calibration because I'm not using the pH sensor, I'm using the EC sensor and the ORP. So I've plugged it in, and this is what it's given me. I don't have any solution to do the EC and the TDS stuff, but it doesn't say it needs to be done straight out of the box, so we're going to assume that it's working. However, if you do want to calibrate it, you see this little grub screw here, you have to use the solution with the probe, and then you have to adjust that grub screw. It seems quite fiddly, so you've got the same with the pHs down there as well. So if anyone is really interested in seeing how the pH works, just let me know. I can plug it in, but I bought this solely really to do ORP. What's confusing me is if I hit pH, it still shows me the pH. Well, no, there you go. Now it's not 3.4. There's no way that's acid that's sitting in. So it is ORP only. That looks around about right, maybe for our ORP. I think we don't have heavy chloramine in our water, and we don't have a lot of chlorine either, which is why I get away with not replacing carbon very often on dechlorinators. So right, that's that one. That is, in all intents and purposes, ready to go. So we'll leave that there for a second, and now we'll move on to the Kactoily. Okay, so straight away, this one is much easier to set up and understand. Instructions are nice and clear. You don't need to do any calibration when you first purchase it. It recommends it's recalibrated every 6 months, so we'll find out how easy that is when we get to that point. But it says it's been calibrated before delivery and can be used directly upon receipt. So just got to sort out the mounting. These little covers are protective covers for the probes. The probe sitting just inside there. They recommend that when you stop using this and you want to store it for any length of time, that you put these probes back with water in. They've actually delivered it with a bit of water in as well, just to help protect the probes and keep them functioning at the correct level. So that's clever. Obviously, being a world market item, it comes with all sorts of different plugs. So this, I think, is the standard plug, which obviously the 2-pin. We don't use that over here, but they have been good enough to provide you with 2 UK plug adapters. So you've got your chance to plug it in correctly. Obviously, this being a wireless one, it does mean that you have got to have 2 plugs, because you need one for the control unit and you need one for the probe itself, and then they will talk to each other wirelessly, which is pretty clever. You can set these up. It says it's recommended to keep the distance between the display and the probe less than 10 meters apart for outdoor use and less than 3 meters apart for indoor use. So you've still got quite a span there to put it where you want. If you're using it on an aquarium, then that's a massive amount of adjustment. Obviously, for us using it outside in ponds, we've still got a fair bit there as well, so that's pretty good. So I'm just going to plug all these in. So it's USB into the plug into the adapter. You've got a mounting bracket, which I'll just put one of the grub screws in, but basically your probe can go in there. One way of mounting it. You can then hang that over the edge of your tank or edge of your pond, depending on what you're using it on, and screw those screws up to provide you with a nice bracket to hold it in. You do have water levels on here, so you've got the 3. You've got the minimum level, you've got what they would say is the recommended level, and you've got the max level, so your water must be in here. I'm going to be aiming obviously for what they recommend, so we'll go for that middle line, but do not go below this, do not go above that. It will not work correctly. Just going through what other bits. So we've got some suction domes here, which again is another way of mounting this. On the back of it, you can pop those suction domes in and mount it that way, or there are some magnets here which I haven't quite worked out what they're for yet, but once I do, I'll share that with you. But yeah, there we go. Let me get it all set up and plugged in, and I think, to be honest, I'm just going to go straight to dumping this one on the pond, because I don't really need to fiddle or understand anything, I don't think, too much, and then we can start going through the controller and all the rest of it. So yeah, you've also got a little water quality guidebook, which actually pretty interesting reading. It just gives you an explanation of what each measurement does and why it's important to you, what you're looking for, which is quite a nice little reference guide to have, a little pocket book to help you understand what you're doing. It does have a salinity meter in it as well, which is very useful. It covers off all of those measurements there, which you can see. So we've got salts, RP, temp, TDS, EC, specific gravity, all covered off. So probably too much for some things. I think sometimes too much information can be a bad thing, but it covers off all the ones that I'm really interested in, to see what's going on. So let's get on with it. So just sorting out the mounting clips to mount this unit. So they've got this little lug here that goes on the back of what you'd put a suction pad or a screw in normally. They looked quite clever when I first looked at them, but they're absolutely crap. So I've picked the first one up, put it in, and it's broken the lug straight off the little thread, the little scrub screw that's through it. So I would not be mounting that anywhere near. It can fall in anything or fall to damage itself, because they're just not going to hold. So I will just mount that myself in my own way. So yeah, crap. Right, so that's both the caps off for the water out. So like I said, if you ever want to store it for a long period of time, not use it, you need to fill those both back up with water, screw them back in. so probes are protected and looked after. As I said, you do need 2 plugs with this, one for the unit, one for the probe. Downside, I suppose, to it being wireless, but then the upside is you've got the freedom to mount that in a much safer place. Right, let me pop this in. Okay, so I've had to go a little bit above the recommended level, so I'm still not at the max level. One note for Kactoily is you've put the suction mounts on the back of it, so I'm at the bare minimum to get the top suction mount on to hold it in place, but that takes me over the recommended level. So maybe just think about where the mounting holes are for that, if it has to be used at that level. I know that it was in that range, so it's still not at the max, so it can go lower. I was trying to use it on the recommended to make sure we got accurate readings, but yeah. Right, let's have a look at the rest of it. So just to show you the mounting magnets I was talking about, I've stuck the plates to the box unit and then I've put the magnets on. These white bits have got sticky pads, so I'm just going to peel that off and then try and stick it to a surface, but got to do it somewhere. I'm hoping it's not going to fall or damage itself, so yeah, I'll get them off and show you after. Okay, so just so you can see here, I've gone in to compensate the temperature because it is displaying about 0.6 to 0.4 difference. I had all sorts of different readings from loads of them. This one reads too high, but this one was reading just a little bit too low for me on time. So what I've done is I have matched it up to my Inkbird one, which I know is my most reliable one and the one I trust the most. So it's just about setting it against measurements that you know you've got, that you can trust and you can rely on. So easy enough to do, just go in, press a couple of buttons and just add the compensation. You can always see that you've added that compensation as well, so it doesn't catch you out. So it reckons it's actually 0.6 of a degree lower than what it currently is showing at. So yeah. Okay, so we are at day 5 of running these. Still 2 days short supposedly of the ORP, but it does say it depends on what water it's going into, how long it takes. If it's going to more sterile water, the longer it take. This water is anything but sterile, so pretty happy where we're at to make an initial conclusion. We will continue to look at these on the channel. We'll do a long term as well, just to make sure that they are fit for purpose. So my conclusions for now, my takeaways is this cheap Chinese unbranded one on the left isn't worth the time, isn't worth the money. For a couple of reasons. The first reason being, and I'll put this up now so you can see it, the ORP has jumped wildly from floating between 130 and 150, which would be fine if that was its constant sort of throughout a 24-hour cycle. I would be happy with that, but all of a sudden it just goes down to 60 and 50, stays there for 10 minutes, then jumps right back up. By the same token, the TDS has hardly moved at all, changes by 10 or so, doesn't really even change, and that's wildly out compared to the other meter, which seems to be tracking better. The temperature is also on the high side, currently at 0.6 degrees higher than my Inkbird is saying. So the second part of this is the build quality is not great. The bracket that came with it to mount it broke, so I've just mounted that on screws. Was not strong at all. And the third one is you can't have the pH on at the same time as the ORP because it only has one probe hole, which, perfectly honest, renders it pretty damn pointless to me, selling it as a multimeter that can't display all of its measurements in one hit. So definitely do not rush out and buy this unit. It is crap, not fit for purpose. We're going to keep it. We're going to use it to just see what it does in comparison to the other one, see how much further wrong it goes. I will recalibrate it just to see if that does anything, but I've got to get some different solutions to do the EC's probe for the TDS. As you can see there, the millivolts is jumping a little bit again. There's only one, nothing major there. It's when it does it in the 100 or the 50 that's no good. So, to the Kactoily. Now, I must say, I am very pleased so far with how this is working. I've had to adjust the temperature, as you see, to bring it level with my Inkbird, because it was showing as a lower figure. But the great thing is they do allow you to compensate for that in the settings, which is very easy to get into. I've been studying the millivolts. As you can see, it's currently at 93, so my ORP is quite low. I have had no wild swings. It doesn't all of a sudden jump from 130, go down to 60 and then back up to 90 and whatever. It is tracking quite well through a 24-hour period. The ORP is going up and down. Obviously I'm injecting ozone into this heavily fed bed, along with oxygen. This goes up and down through the cycle of the day and night, and as I would expect, it's going up overnight and then reducing back down after the first feed during the day. And we're not talking a massive amount. Obviously there are 500 milligrams of ozone going in every hour. It's holding it sort of between 80 and 110, so pretty good. I'm not going those minus parts. I would like to get it a little bit higher, but that means I need to inject more ozone. So we're at a pretty stable point. The pH, again, the monitor seems to work really well. I know my pH is normally at 8.2 when I do my normal tests. And again, I'm watching this with the 24-hour cycle just change ever so slightly. We get down to 7.9 and we sometimes come up to 8.3. But again, it's never a massive major jump. Build quality wise, feels a lot better than the other one. I was a bit sceptical about the mounting points for the stickiness, but they so far seem to be holding up. It's been very hot again this week in the tunnel. We've had temperatures of up to 45 in the tunnel air temp wise, and they've held up, so I'm assuming they're going to be alright, but we'll see how they are. Test of time. As I said before, one of the downsides is if you have the wireless one, you need 2 plugs. If you're already tight for plug space, arrange your ponds. But a minor thing, and then you've also got this that I think they could add another mounting hole on the probe, would be fairly useful. But these are small things, so whilst I'm not going to tell you to go rush out and buy this right now, I'm very, very hopeful of how it's performing. It's the best result I've had in using an ORP meter for reliability. I've had no issues that other people have mentioned around the power suppliers making it flicker. It's been spot on. So yeah, that is where I'm at. We will keep reviewing this, keep looking at it over the coming weeks, and I will let you know I'm getting on. But so far so good. I feel like I am finally getting an accurate reading of where my ORP sits. That is it for today, guys. So I hope you've enjoyed that one. Probably not the most exciting of stuff, but I've had a fair few people ask me about what is are the ORP meters that I've been using. And honestly, I've been through so many of them, and I didn't want to spam everyone with boring videos about crap Chinese meters that don't work. So hopefully that is of some use to you. You can see that there is potential in this one. Like I said, let's give it a little bit longer before I give you the thumbs up and say it is good enough for what I'm trying to do. As I always say, all of this stuff is depending on what you're trying to achieve. I'm not your average pond keeper who's looking just to keep a pond in his back garden. I am looking for heat and I'm looking for growth, which means lots and lots of food and lots of dirty water. So just keep that in mind. As ever, guys, please do give us a like, please do subscribe, help support the channel. It's free for you to do. Helps us grow, helps me know that it is worth doing what we're doing and people are enjoying it. And till next time, guys, I will catch you soon. Have a cracking week.